our Emergency Operations Center, and we had a few little technical problems getting us up and running today. Thanks very much for bearing with us. So we're very pleased to, we're going to do storm coverage today. So we're very pleased to get started with our new sheriff, Tina Nieto, who is going to run down some really important information that people need to know. And then Sheriff Nieto, talk a little bit about safety messages, what you want people to do and know as we head into the stormy weather. Let me see, you're unmuted. We need to unmute you. I can't unmute you.
Oh, do you have to dial in?
No.
Do you have to dial in? Okay, so she's going to dial in. Do you want me to talk about some EOC
I was going to say, why don't we pivot to you, Kelsey, and let that interpretive dance thing happening over there.
I just need to refresh my charade skills, so I appreciate that opportunity. So the Monterey County Emergency Operations Center is activated to a level 1, which means it's our fullest, highest level. We have been activated to a level 3 since December 26th for the original winter storm system that came through, and then increased to a level 2 yesterday in anticipation for today. We have a full EOC, and it's physically in person. I realize that's a bit redundant, but it is here in person. It is no longer virtual as it has been throughout COVID. We are actively working to support the Sheriff's Office operations, the Public Works flood fighting operations, the Water Resources Agency flood fighting operations, and our care and shelter operations. At this point in time, we have identified that there are 3 temporary evacuation points in the Monterey County operational area. One at the King City Library, one at the Prunedale Library, and one at the Carmel Valley Library. And those operation hours are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we'll be reassessing those operational hours throughout the event and into the weekend. We are identifying additional emergency shelters for overnight stay if people are evacuated or under an evacuation order. And more information about those locations will be coming out later today or early tomorrow, depending on the situation. I'll defer to the Sheriff's Office about the evacuation warnings, but essentially our office is here to support our first responder partners, as well as our local jurisdictions in acquiring resources for necessary operations to protect public health and safety. That was a high-level overview. Unless people have questions, I can really dive into the nuances of what the EOC does.
Thank you. I was just going to try to pull up our incident webpage to show
yeah,
what was on there, and I'm on somebody else's laptop, so I'm totally messing everything up for them today.
So we have an incident webpage. It is also on the county webpage, and I think on our social media pages, but essentially provides a resource or a web page for the community to go to access resources. So animal sheltering, shelter locations, sandbag and sand stockpile locations, transportation resources, PG&E outage maps, really a one-stop shop for all of the disaster needs that the community might be looking for. And then in the event that you don't have a computer or a smartphone, you can call 211 and they can connect you to resources as well.
Terrific. And then I'm just checking on Sheriff Nieto to see if she's got audio yet, or we can move to our other participant. Oh, thank you. Oh, Kelsey, while we're waiting, Nick was kind enough to bring up the incident page. And I'm wondering, Nick, if you could scroll through that a little bit, and Kelsey, you could show what's available to people.
Yeah, of course. If you can keep scrolling down. So we have the evacuation warnings here, as well as the weather advisories that have been disseminated, the locations of the temporary evacuation points and the emergency shelters, and then an interactive map. And if you click on some of the icons, it'll provide more context and information, exactly road closures, the sandbag locations, shelters, etc.
Hi, everybody. It's Nieto. Sorry about that. New iPad, and my camera's not set up on my monitors yet. So when I logged in, it wasn't connected to the audio. So I had to just pivot real quick. And that's the hand puppets, and Kelsey's very good at that, apparently. Very good at her job. So thank you, Kelsey, for that. But the message I really want to get out to the public is that we do have some winter storm events that are coming. The rain, we're going to get hit with rain, and not just one cycle, but 2 cycles. So if you live in the lower lying areas, which is basically the Power Row area that Kelsey talked about and threw the maps up, we're asking the public to please prepare for possible flooding. On the law enforcement, on EOC side, on the fire department side, we're also preparing for that event. We will be there for help. Please monitor the county websites. We're constantly putting out information through, our Facebook, through the website, through the county, through the sheriff's office for information as needed if you're monitoring these things. We do have locations set up in your area, especially Power, where we encourage people to get their sandbags now and not wait, because if the waters do start to rise, that's too late to do sandbagging. So prepare now. Also, for residents in the Power, Watsonville area, we are asking the public to have your what we call go bags ready to go. And so make sure that your vehicles, if you're going to be leaving the area in a vehicle, that your vehicles are already gassed. They're staged to go just like you would do in a wildfire. Make sure that if you have pets, that you have carriers, or however you're going to deal with your pets, any medication for you or your family or for your pets, that you have that ready to go if the evacuation order is put out for your area. I do want to assure the public that if that is the case, the Sheriff's Department and all the other emergency services will be in the area, but it's a big population, and so that we ask the residents and the community, we really need you as a partner to do your part should that happen. The other thing is that the winds are going to come too. So we do realize that there's going to be trees down in the roadway, but we are monitoring that with our county roads and our public agencies. Again, if you have any questions, please refer to the websites where information is being put out by the team on a hourly basis, actually, as we work through these 2 weather events, as we call it, both the rain and the winds that will go in through to the weekend.
Thank you very much, Sheriff. I'm also hoping you might touch on respecting the signs. People are going to be seeing a lot of road closure signs over the next couple of days, and those signs are there for a reason. And it sounds like while you're throwing every deputy out on patrol the next couple of days, but if people get themselves in a high water situation or they drive through a road where they're not supposed to, there may not be capacity to come and save them.
Yes, and thank you for that. Please, I encourage the public, watch the signs. If there's a sign saying the road's closed, it's closed for a reason. There's a lot more of you guys out there than there is of us. And, the last thing that we want is for people to ignore the signs, find themselves in a situation where now you have to be rescued from that situation. We've seen it in the news over and over again. We've seen it across the nation, and people watch the media. And when you talk to these people, they're like, I ignored the signs. Please do not ignore the signs. We're not doing this to inconvenience you. We are doing this for your safety and the safety of your families. So please, we're just asking you, please pay attention to what's going out there, because again, many more of you out there than there are the public safety that are here to help you through this situation.
Thank you very much for taking the time to walk through some of these safety messages. And we're going to go, I've got a question for you in chat, so we'll go ahead and take that one. This question is, could you provide more details on the National Guard high water vehicles that are being deployed to Monterey County?
Yeah, so just so the public knows, this is not just starting today. We have been talking about this event now for several days. You know, getting ready as we move into this thing. And we've ordered up what we call high water vehicles from our National Guard. That's already been done in case we do have to go into certain areas in order to do the water rescues. Again, we're ordering those as a precaution because if the event starts, then it's too late, as they always say. And so that's why I want to get back to the public. If the waters start to rise, that's too late to prepare. We're asking you to prepare now in case you have to leave your location and either move to a shelter or, you know, to a friend or family's home that's out of the floodplains.
Thank you. Any other questions for the sheriff while we've got her on the line? You know, I can think of one question off the top of my head. There may be people who aren't sure. Should I go? Shouldn't I go? I'm not quite sure of my zone. If people aren't sure whether they should evacuate, where they should go, what is their best recourse for information?
Again, I think the best recourse is actually to go to the websites because they're current on the shelters that are open. You can access maps through the county websites to show where the probable flooding could be. So that's where you want to get your information. It's you can't be making phone calls and tying up the lines that way. That when things start to happen very rapidly, you know, phone lines can go down. And what we found in the past, based on experience, is that the internet, the websites, the Facebooks, those continue to work through these things when our systems are getting overwhelmed with people seeking information. So again, and I know that the county puts the websites up, and so maybe if we can get that information out to anybody listening or watching, so they know, you know, the addresses to go within those social media sites to get the most recent information. Again, if you're in one of those locations that's been identified, please prepare. Please have your bag ready to go with your important papers, your medication, your pets, medication if you have pets, or whatever special needs that you have, that if the event starts, you will not be able to get back into evacuated areas.
And also, I think some people hesitate to go. They wonder, well, maybe it's safer if I stay home. Maybe it really won't be so bad. I think we're in a situation in some of these low-lying areas where waiting is not a good idea.
So as my mom always said, better to be safe than sorry, because we see it again over and over again, where we talk to survivors of these incidents where they said, you know, I should have went when I could. I don't want any of the families out there in our county to be part of a very tragic story. If it's time to go, it's time to go. If as I always say, if your spidey sense says maybe I should go, then please listen to your spidey sense and, you know, make plans accordingly and move out of the area. Especially if the evacuation order comes out, you should leave and you shall leave. So please help us.
Thank you very much. Really great words. Any last questions for the sheriff before we let her go back to a lot of work that you're doing today?
I posted all the links in the chat, so if people want to copy those, they can.
And then for those who are on the call, we will also send them out via email. Some of them have come out throughout the day, and we'll kind of collect them all and send them as well. So thank you so much, Sheriff Nieto, for joining us and giving such great safety information. And good luck to all of your staff that will be out working so hard over the next few days.
And I just want to put out there, thank you to everybody. It's not just law enforcement. It's not the fire department doing these situations. I got to tell you, it's the entire county family that are working 24/7 to ensure that our communities are safe and that we safely move through this event.
Thank you. And I want to turn back to Kelsey. Kelsey, is there anything else that we missed? Because we got the sheriff, the audio going and got her going. Is there anything else we should take from Department of Emergency Management?
No, I think the sheriff really hit the high points. Now's not the time to do any recreational water activities either. So please don't kayak. Please don't surf. If you feel that your life is at any point in time in danger, also do not wait for an official to tell you to leave. And if you're stranded, try to get to high ground and call 911. Essentially, these are my main points. But yeah, thank you so much for the community for actively listening to public safety messaging.
All right, thank you both. And then we've got Roxanne Wilson, who's our County Homeless Services Director here. We asked her to join us because a lot of people have been concerned about our unhoused population during the storm system. And Roxanne is going to share a little bit of, some high level information about what is being done. Hi, Roxanne.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much. I just have a really brief update. Outreach teams and law enforcement have both been deployed to all of the areas of concern where people who are living unsheltered are, and they have been stewarding people to safer locations. We've also connected the staff of the evacuation points that was listed earlier to outreach. So if people who are unsheltered do go to the evacuation points, then the staff there can get them connected to homeless services. We do ask the community to spread the word. These evacuation points are really going to be the main way for us to connect the most amount of people to services. And finally, there are over 30 beds that I've been able to locate in emergency shelters. They are all located in Chinatown. This is, of course, for folks who are living unsheltered. So if you or anybody you know is looking for a safe place and you're currently experiencing homelessness, please feel free to contact the two shelters in Chinatown, which is the Chinatown Navigation Center and Victory Mission, to see if they can do an over-the-phone intake. That's all I have to update today. Thank you.
I really appreciate you jumping on, because we've had a lot of people are concerned in this weather, because sometimes vouchers don't always apply. And maybe that's something you might be able to talk about. Even though this is a winter storm, the voucher system isn't applicable at this moment in time.
Yeah, so the Department of Social Services offers motel vouchers through the Coalition of Homeless Services Providers. Those vouchers are used as a kind of a last resort when there are no emergency shelter beds that are available. That's the first threshold. And also, they are for inclement weather, and our definition of inclement weather is 45 degrees and below plus rain. And what we are experiencing this week, as far as I can tell, it does not meet all of the thresholds. So unfortunately, many of those, the folks who are living inside of the riverbeds won't have access to the vouchers. But again, there are other resources. The outreach teams can also provide transportation if there are folks who are a little far from Chinatown but are interested in accessing those shelter beds. And of course, through the outreach teams, they have direct lines to me and to the Coalition of Homeless Services Providers if they do find themselves in situations where they need more resources. So yeah, unfortunately, the vouchers do not apply this week at this time, but of course that can change as we progress through the week.
So if people go to they may be experiencing homelessness, they can go to any of the evacuation points and get connected.
That is correct. So the community health engagement outreach team their contact information was provided to the library staff, and the library staff knows how to make that connection, and they are all on standby.
Fantastic. Are there any questions for Roxanne? Any additional questions for her while we've got her? Seeing none, Thank you, Roxanne, and thanks everyone for joining us on the briefing today and taking a look at the storm information. We hope you all stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
May Dr. Moreno is on. Dr. Moreno is on for questions if you wanted to do that.
I do see Dr. Moreno on, and I am not able to access. I'm on somebody else's computer, and I'm not able to access the questions that came in for him.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if people will just hold on just a second. Let me see if I can find my computer.
I know the first question was, what have the trends been with regard to COVID-19 positivity rates? Are they going up? Are they staying consistent? Are they going down? Just in general, that was the first question that came in.
Okay.
And I am not seeing Dr. Oh, there he is.
Thanks, Nick. I can go ahead and answer that. So currently the positivity rate in Monterey County, I would consider stable. The case rates seem to be declining somewhat, but our hospital rates for people who are admitted with COVID continues to be stable. We still have people hospitalized for COVID. Thanks, Nick.
Okay. The other, may I have them up here for you?
Oh, that would be great. Can you? That would be great.
Yes. The latest Omicron subvariant to become dominant is the XBB.1.5. How different is that from the previous Omicron variants?
Okay, thanks, Nick. So yeah, the this one is a recombinant, which means it shows some characteristics of two different Omicron subvariants. And there are some, it looks like some preliminary information out at the national level. This one might be a little more infectious than some other pre-existing variants, but we're still looking at an Omicron variant, and we've had primarily Omicron variants for the past 12 months, and some are more infectious, some are less infectious, but the message is always the same. Anyone who wants to prevent themselves or their loved ones from getting COVID should get fully vaccinated and boosted with the bivalent, and stay home if you're sick. Don't spread it in the workplace. Don't spread COVID at work. Don't spread it at schools, and don't spread it at family gatherings. And definitely we still recommend people get tested if they think they have Omicron, and if they think they're need of medical care, contact their healthcare provider.
Terrific. Thank you, Dr. Moreno. Another question that came in was, what is the current trend with both the flu and RSV viruses in Monterey County?
Yeah, thanks. All hospitalizations for flu, cases and hospitalizations for flu and RSV are not reportable, but we do know is that the hospitals continue to have individuals hospitalized for COVID as well as flu. So even though our COVID rates may be steady, there's other viruses this winter that we usually see during the winter months, and fortunately, there is a flu vaccine as well. So people not only should get vaccinated for COVID, but should get vaccinated against influenza.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Dr. Moreno. Question is about respiratory virus patients filling emergency rooms. And I know you don't maybe not be able to speak to all hospitals, but do you have any insights on that?
We are, again, it's similar to the hospitalizations. We are seeing individuals showing up for influenza, but also for COVID-19. And then we still have some children showing up with RSV, though not as much as in prior months. So my suggestion there is if you're sick, before you get sick, get vaccinated. If you do get sick, if you have a healthcare provider, you should feel comfortable calling your healthcare provider for advice over the phone. And if you have taken measures to treat your fever, your chills, and you stayed hydrated, but you feel you're getting worse, definitely seek out healthcare with your healthcare provider or at urgent care.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Dr. Moreno. And the last question that was submitted prior to the briefing, should Monterey County residents consider masking up more in different situations?
I think right now we've had plenty of time for people to get vaccinated. The message really hasn't changed. So at this point, with regards to masking, it's not required in Monterey County or in California, but as we said in the past, it is recommended for anyone who does not want to or wants to take an additional measure to prevent themselves from getting exposed and sick from COVID. That would be to use a face covering when they're in public indoor settings, particularly if they're crowded public indoor settings.
Okay, very good. May, I'll turn it back over to you.
Gosh, thanks very much, Nick, for pitch hitting. We're having a little pre-storm meltdown of our technology over here. We'll get everybody all synced up. Thank you very much, Dr. Moreno, for being on the call. Are there any other additional questions for Dr. Moreno before we leave him? I hope Kelsey, I don't know if Kelsey is still on the call. I don't know if anyone from the Sheriff's Department can ask this one. Have people called ahead about the Sherwood Hall emergency shelter? Will it be restricted to Salinas residents, or can people from Pajaro go there as well? I am hearing that it will be open to everyone, that it's a joint county shelter, and I don't know if there's anyone else on the call who can confirm that. Actually, Sophia's right here in the room.
And the sheriff,
I can confirm that.
The sheriff is on too. Yep. Sheriff Nieto is here.
So I got verbal confirmation. Luckily, our PIO group includes the city of Salinas. So if it's more convenient to go to Sherwood Hall and you need to evacuate, you can definitely do so. And Sheriff Nieto, you agree?
Yes, I also said in that meeting this morning, so we are not asking for where you live, whether your status here in the country. We are concerned about making sure that we get people sheltered out of the storm so they don't become a public safety hazard to tie up our resources during these two weather events.
Well, and it also may be difficult, depending on where you live, to get to the location that may be closer but harder to get to, depending on your situation and road closures. All right.
That's correct. Thank you.
And I just got the city of Salinas is telling me it's the Sherwood Hall is not active yet, but it will be, and we will notify everyone in this group and beyond when it is available. Any other questions that we can answer? Seeing none. Thanks everyone for joining us on the media briefing this week and letting us talk about storm information. We'll be back next week.